Page 29. Art of Manipulation, for R B Sparkman, 1978. Chapter 3. Tactic 2, How to Make a Slave Out of a Person 3.2. The most important pigeon story you'll ever read. Imagine a pigeon in a cage, with a bar it can peck on to get a pellet of food that it likes very much. This pellet of food is a reward, or reinforcement, for its pecking. You would assume that the more often the pigeon received the pellet of food, the more often it would peck the bar. But importantly, this didn't turn out to be the case. The experiment yielded these results. First, when the pigeon never got food as a reinforcement, it stopped pecking the bar altogether. No surprise. Second, when the pigeon got the food reinforcement every time it pecked the bar, it only pecked the bar a moderate number of times. Finally, and most important, when the pigeon got the food reinforcement intermittently, that is, sometimes it got the food reward for pecking the bar, and sometimes it got no reward for pecking, it pecked the bar like crazy, frantically and incessantly. The experimenters believe that this intermittent reinforcement is the strongest motivator for getting the behavior they wanted from the bird. When you compare the pigeon experiment to my experience with Bill's woman friend, you'll see a striking parallel between the two. This parallel provides us with the key to Bill's appeal. It also gives us a pretty shocking insight into human nature. Actually, our human nature more closely resembles that of animals like pigeons than we like to think. We humans can't resist intermittent reinforcement much more than the pigeon did in the experiment. When we get reinforcement every time we see a person, that is, when they treat us well every time we interact with them, we begin to take that person for granted a little. Just as the pigeon only pecked on the bar moderately in the face of constant reinforcement, we humans only respond moderately well to a person who always treats us favorably. We begin to take him for granted. This ingratitude instinct proved to be my undoing with Bill's woman friend. She liked me, but she knew I would always be good to her. She knew she could have me anytime. Put simply, if you treat a person well all the time, you are going to be taken for granted. In fact, some people would say you're almost as well off to mistreat a person all the time, thus avoiding the whole relationship. This situation points up an important facet of human behavior: people take for granted what they know they can have. This trait is important, but the final result of the pigeon experiment uncovers an even more significant part of human nature. And it's one that can make you a manipulator. Page 30.